for Baldwin County, for parts of our Mississippi counties into northern Mobile County. But what we're keeping the closest eye on is this tornado warning that is currently moving through Mobile County. So this is going to be approaching downtown Mobile in the next few minutes because these are moving so quickly. So we are looking at this storm moving at around 50 miles per hour. So let's go ahead and get back to the storm relative velocity and see if we can pinpoint the area of rotation.
Yeah, it looks like it looks like we're coming out of that little cone area.
Just now coming out.
So where do we have that highest shear? Right over the Berkeley area?
It looks like it's right over Alpine Hills, West Hill, Berkeley.
Okay, so that would be the Pinehurst neighborhood. That would be, again, areas just south of the University of South Alabama.
Benton Spur.
Yeah.
Cody Road, Berkeley. This is where Cody intersects Hillcrest.
Yeah.
Heading towards Azalea City Golf Course. We got a new scan in. Let's see. Okay, so starting to get out of the cone of uncertainty. And if you're just joining, the cone of uncertainty means that we're so close to the radar that the radar can't see the rotation. So where this rotation is moving over is exactly where the radar is, which is at Mobile Regional Airport in West Mobile, just passed over Mobile Regional Airport. Now we're starting to come out of it. And so we are seeing rotation passing over Country Club Village, Benton Spur, Wheelerville, Alpine Hills there. Ed was saying Pinehurst neighborhoods there, Azalea City Golf Course, the University of South Alabama as well. So this is something that you've got to take seriously. If you can hear my voice, you've got to get in that tornado safe place if you are in West Mobile. And keep in mind, downtown Mobile, midtown Mobile, this is heading towards you.
Right.
So you have got to get in that safe place.
Switch over to our WKRG camera.
Okay.
We've got a view of this storm.
Lots of lightning.
Lots of lightning. I don't see any noticeable area of rotation, no funnel clouds right now. But if you look at that site there, just behind you, I mean, there's a very intense rain shaft and maybe have some small hail embedded within that as well. So now this storm is moving north. It's going to be closing in on I-65 here shortly. In fact, it's likely already there considering how quickly this is moving. If you are on 65, Spring Hill, Dauphin Street, any of those areas, and we got a lot of businesses, you mentioned, Caroline, that are up in that area, a lot of shopping centers. We know a lot of folks did close their businesses in anticipation of this weather moving in. But that is a current view of this tornado-warned storm. Again, although we are not seeing anything on the ground at this point, once that cloud moves over you, that very ominous-looking cloud, once it moves on top of you, you're going to get blasted by some very intense wind. I mean, look at that low cloud base there on the left side. Very intense low bases here. What we mean is that when those bases get lower, that's something we generally need to watch for very closely.
See if anything drops down.
Yeah, if anything tries to drop down from these storms. So let's hang on this view for a couple of seconds. Again, let's go ahead and recap this warning. This is a tornado warning in effect until 12:30 this afternoon, so goes for another 20 minutes. This warning does include North Mobile County. This also stretches into northern Baldwin County. A lot of communities and a lot of population centers are in the path of this storm. So this would include Saraland, Chickasaw, Pritchard also included in this. We have some other communities. Pritchard, downtown Mobile. In fact, it's now 12:10, so this is expected to work its way over the north side of downtown Mobile in the next, well, right about now is when we're expecting it to move there.
Midtown, downtown.
I-65 and I-165.
And boy, we're hearing that lightning here. It is very intense.
It is.
So this is by far the strongest storm that we've seen so far. This moving into this afternoon. We're going to continue to look at some other cameras here. Let's go and go back to some storm tracking there, Caroline.
Okay, I'm going to pick up from here. One other thing to note about these low-based storms is that the winds that are associated with them can come down out of the sky very quickly. So if you have high winds elevated above the ground, they will come down to the ground very quickly. So you can see 60 and 70 mile per hour winds even outside of the kind of blinked off the air there for a second.
We just took a little power surge.
Let's see if, there we go, we are back. And we're looking here at the area near the airport. This is the one we're looking for right now. And we seem to have lost let me see if we have completely lost it. No, there it is, came back to. So that power blink just kind of messed things up a little bit for a moment. I'm going to bring us back to the Mobile radar and take a look at the shear rate.
Hey, while you're doing that, John, also some hail reported. This is from West Mobile Baptist Church.
Okay. And so we're looking now at the area around Alpine Hills Country Club Village. This is moving to the northeast at about 50 miles per hour. This is a very fast-moving storm. You have little time to prepare if you're in the path of this storm. And let me pull out just a little bit more to see who all is down the road from this storm right now. Chickasaw, Pritchard, I think we mentioned a moment ago. And there are lots of other areas where we're seeing shear. It's not necessarily that there's a lot of rotation, but there are some very strong winds that are going to be moving along the edge of this storm through places like Cox and Gulfdale and Clark Gardens. But right now, the focus is on this area, stretching from just to the east of the airport through Pritchard and Acca and headed over eventually across the Mobile River Delta to places like Blakely. This is a dangerous storm. You need to have your safe place. You need to be in that safe place. And it just so happens that we can show you that safe place in your home. And that would be an interior room away from windows. You want as many walls between you and the outside as possible in this particular drawing. It's a bathroom, but it could be in your house a closet. It could be a hallway,
John.
but you'll want to move to that spot immediately if you are in the path of this storm.
Sorry to interrupt you. If you could pull up camera 10.
We'll do it.
We also are getting reports of pea-sized hail near West Mobile Baptist Church.
All right, so let's go here.
And the other update they brought, they've cut off a couple of the counties in West Mobile from the tornado warning, so you are in the clear back towards Pinehurst and, and near the airport.
All right, we're back at Providence. Let me try. Which one do you want?
Museum East.
Just go to Museum East.
Museum East.
So
got it.
Here we go.
Perfect.
Boy, that is some ominous-looking weather there.
All right, new warning coming in right now.
All right, so this is a new severe thunderstorm warning for central Mobile County and Baldwin County, northwestern Escambia County in northwest Florida. It is
same storm
moving to the east at 45 miles per hour. This is located east of Theodore to 4 miles southwest of Coden.
So actually what this is, guys, this is the southern end of that big Boeing segment that's now rolling through.
We were seeing an uptick in shear with that. The shear rate was upticking.
I think what we're going to have to watch out for, too, here as this starts to move to the move over Mobile Bay is occasionally we can start seeing waterspout activity as these storms move over. So if you're on the eastern shore, although you are not under a tornado warning at this time, we need to watch this line closely. We've had quick spin-ups throughout the afternoon here on this line, but still, again, you're going to get 60-mile-an-hour winds. And what was the hail size of that?
Penny-sized hail.
Okay.
And it seems that we just had something happen with that camera. It may have been.
We'll get that fixed for you, John.
May have been wind or something, but one thing to note, if we could turn this toward the left-hand side. One thing to note is when you see that green color in the sky, that generally means there's some hail up there somewhere. Exactly. It's just the way light refracts through water versus through ice, and that greenish color tends to mean that you're likely to see some hail.
Yeah, so again, like penny-sized hail, we've already had reports of hail in Mobile with this storm. That appears to be just a massive shelf cloud that's about to roll over the Civic Center, roll over downtown Mobile.
Well, you can see the wind. Look at that rod there on the right.
Right.
Yep, and
really low clouds.
Yeah, very low clouds. We're going to start turning some of our other camera views here.
Yeah, give us a second. We'll work on Battleship Park.
Yeah.
Right.
Actually, you know what? Stay on that camera right there, John.
Watching that.
Do you see that? Do you see the little bit of a lowering there?
Yep.
In that storm, kind of difficult to see what exactly that is, but
that pole's in the way.
Yeah, little area that little pole's in the way here. So actually, no, it doesn't look that. I think it's just from the angle that we're
just
viewing
scud clouds.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's a scud
being
cloud.
Torn off the bottom of that.
Let's do some new storm tracking because the storm right now is moving into Pritchard right now.
Okay, we'll pull out to the radar and show you exactly what's going on. Look at that shear line that stretches from Mobile Bay all the way at the bottom of Mobile Bay up through Mobile and Pritchard and Cushla. This is a line that is going to be bringing very strong winds with it. I'm going to just quickly check out something here on the Mobile radar. Let me just go and take a look at what I want is the storm relative velocity and see if we see that same arc, and we do. And when you see that very smooth bowed arc like this, you can just about guarantee that there's going to be some very high wind along and right behind that arc. So be prepared. It's moving off of Gulfdale and Clark Gardens and headed across the bay. So Spanish Fort, Park City, Daphne, Montrose, Seacliff, and I mean, this is a long stretch down through Fairhope, Battles Wharf. This is a big deal for you in the next little bit. And then on top of that, we have the tornado warning up here to the north. But I want to just quickly move down here to the south, and I'm having trouble.
There we go.
But you can see that this line of very strong winds extends all the way down to South Mobile County. In fact, I'm pretty sure it goes all the way down just to the west end of Dauphin Island. So this is going to be a big deal for you, and I'm talking about winds that could be 60, 70, or more miles per hour. This is nothing to take lightly. You probably should go ahead to what would normally be your tornado safe place and stay away from windows for the time being if you're in the path of this particular part of the storm.
Yep.
All right, let's get you back into the area right here that is under the tornado warning, just to see where we are. And it's a little harder to find now, but I'm going to check the shear rate on this. And it would be somewhere in this zone. It's moving into Pritchard, Chickasaw, Whistler. Let's go to the storm relative velocity and also the debris tracker. And I would think that, and you guys can help me out on this. I'm not afraid of some help.
Yeah.
But I would think this area around Magazine would be the one we would be looking at.
I think we'd have to watch that. You know, thankfully, once this gets past this area, it's going to move over the river delta, so it'll get out of people's ways here. For a second, let's go ahead and, if we can, guys, go ahead and push links 2 on that side control panel.
All right, hold on just a minute.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Go ahead and put links 2, and let's see if we can.
Should be popped up.
Okay, actually,
Let me do one more thing before we go away from any of this. I just want to make sure that we're set to a typical reflectivity scan so we can actually see the whole storm
I think
system.
directors have to change it to links 2.
Okay, let's actually, you know what, if we have Grant Skinner available, guys in the control room, do we have a Grant ready to go? Because we're seeing it. Okay, all right, so let's go to meteorologist Grant Skinner out in the News 5 Weather Beast. I see you kind of parked over there, Grant, and what you're seeing there. I mean, it's quite intense. If you can hear me, tell us what you've experienced here in the last couple of minutes.
Hey there, Ed. Yeah, we're just south of where that rotation just moved, so near the University of Mobile. We had a strong area of rotation that just moved over this area. Of course, this is a tornado-warned storm that we've been watching since it was in West Mobile, moved over portions of Airport Boulevard, and still creating these strong gusty winds. I mean, the rain has been just coming down in buckets. We've got really strong winds gusting up to 60, 70 miles per hour at times. We have a peak gust of 75 miles per hour. We have not been able to drive 75 miles per hour because how strong these winds have been, how rainy it's been, and we've got gusts up to 75. So really strong wind gusts over the area. We got really heavy rainfall as well, and you can see that winds moving around really from south to north, showing those gusty winds over the area.
And Grant, so I know you started your trek there in Loosedale. We were watching your view here. Unfortunately, it looks like you're going to be caught in this rain for quite some time. Have you come upon any areas where you've noticed maybe some flooding? Because we're starting to get flash flood warnings issued here.
Yeah, Ed, so we've got some ponding in Loosedale whenever I was back there, but the roads were starting to pond more and more as we were headed east. I also did notice that we saw some ponding in Sims as well. I had a friend send in a message to me that he saw some more ponding and some flooded roadways in Sims. Also, hail has been a problem as well, at least some pea-sized hail. We've driven through a couple of pockets of it, and looks like we're getting another pocket right now, some heavy rainfall and some small hail as we head towards 65.
All right, Grant, well, be safe out there. We'll check back with you shortly. Very quickly, let's go ahead and update the folks in Pritchard on this storm. Let's go and switch back over to the weather wall. Caroline, looks like the rotation part of this thunderstorm looks like it's about to move over the Mobile River Delta. So, Director, let's go ahead and switch us back to Links 1 if we could in the weather wall.
Yes. There we go. If we could put me on the screen, that would be great. All right, so we are looking at a tornado-warned storm heading towards Saraland and Mobile here. As Ed was saying, we got to update Pritchard. You, at the very least, are seeing really, really strong wind gusts there. So we are looking at Pritchard approaching the I-65 corridor, where I-65 meets 165 as well. So parts of Chickasaw heading towards Pritchard and Tolmanville and Allenville and up towards Magazine as well. I'm going to go ahead and check the Doppler storm winds, and it does look like it's tightening up again, Ed.
Yeah, it's starting to tighten up, and now I think the good news with this
River Delta,
as it's moving over the River Delta, I think we'll be able to get some folks out of the way here. So I would say if you're in Pritchard, Crichton, I think the threat is now over, is ending here quickly. I think we need to start now shifting our focus away from that storm and down to the eastern shore.
Oh, yes, we are. Okay, so basically what Ed is talking about, what we're seeing here is where these reds and greens come close together is not rotation per se. We could see areas of rotation along this line, but what this is really, really strong winds. So this is damaging straight line winds that we are currently seeing there. Let me go to base velocity and see if we can pixel some of these and see as far as what kind of winds we are seeing there. And this is currently over Mobile Bay. So currently it hasn't even moved over into the eastern shore, but who's gonna get hit first? Daphne, Montrose, Fairhope down towards Battles Wharf as well. So this is gonna be along Highway 98, Scenic 98, places in that area. Let's go ahead and pixel some of these winds here. We're seeing 45, 36, 33.
Yeah. And if you want, I know, Lexi, you've been messing around with the cameras. Which camera are you got right now?
Yeah, so Caroline, if you want to pop up Grand Hotel at Point Clear, we can actually get a good visual of that cloud that's kind of moving across Mobile Bay as we speak.
Okay, it's going to be a hefty shelf cloud if I were to guess.
I would assume, yep, that's exactly what we have. Now, interesting, look at the water. Look at how the water is getting pulled, rolling east and southeast. Very strong wind, so that's inflow going into that thunderstorm. That's what we're seeing.
That's fuel for the thunderstorm.
Yeah, so the winds are kind of getting yanked into the storm. I would not rule out a quick spin up or water spout somewhere along this line, so we're going to keep our eyes on this camera. But if you're on the eastern shore, you've got a very strong line of storms coming in now.
Yes, you do, and I'm going to kind of walk down this line, and yeah, it's moving really quickly. Ed, do we know how fast this is moving?
I will take a look at that here for you.
It's moving quickly. I'm assuming we're probably seeing...
I mean, it's almost on.
Just going from that severe thunderstorm warning that was issued, it is moving east at 45 miles per hour.
Okay, so this is moving quickly. So in the next couple minutes, this leading edge of these thunderstorms where we're seeing the 65, 70, 75 mile per hour winds is now going to be moving out of Mobile Bay and onto the eastern shore. So if you are in Blakely State Park as well as Spanish Ford and other parts of the eastern shore center here, see if I can turn off this box zoom, but if you're down Highway 98 towards Fairhope, towards Battleship Wharf as well. It looks like we're having some issues here.
Yeah, go ahead and step off the wall for just a second, Caroline. We'll get you rebooted here.
Okay, thank you.
But bottom line here, again, if you're anywhere on the eastern shore, Point Clear, Fairhope, any of those areas, we need to go ahead and start moving inside to a safe structure there. I think you should be in good shape now, Caroline.
Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and zoom in on kind of the leading edge of this storm. Okay, perfect. So we are looking at this leading edge of thunderstorms that is now approaching very close to the eastern shore. This is going to hit Spanish Fort first, along the I-10 corridor towards Montrose, towards Fairhope as well. And we're looking for areas of spin here. And I do hear that we have some video of causeway flooding. Can we go ahead and take that?
Let's take a live look.
A live look. Okay.
This is a live look at the Algo traffic cameras there on the causeway. If we can pop that up there. All right, there it is. So this was expected. There was a coastal flood advisory issued for the causeway specifically for this reason, that as these storms are going to come in, they were going to pile up a good bit of water into North Mobile Bay. And so as expected, water is washing over the bay. You can see the cars with their hazard lights on there doing exactly what you should not be doing.
Right.
driving through those waters, and a lot. I mean, it's above.
Wow.
That's got to be a foot, at least a foot,
goodness.
maybe half
Yeah.
a foot of.
Looks like it.
I got a
No.
feeling some of those cars are going to be stalled right
Yeah.
there before all is said and done.
Okay, so if you come to a roadway like this, do not drive through it. Please turn around, don't drown, as we say.
Yeah, we're at the mercy of the folks at Algo who are trying to kind of give everyone a kind of a wide view of what's happening. But look at all of that water. I mean, that's
Whoa.
got to be at least 8 inches of water.
Well, at least, and something we talked about while they're swinging this camera and making me dizzy.
Right.
But
at
we
that.
talked about it all morning. Is that this area and places like the Dauphin Island
Island
Causeway,
Causeway.
and Shell Belt Road in Bilobatry and Coden Belt
Right.
Road, where we don't have Algo cameras.
Not to mention, too, that high tide's coming in
Right
about
now.
an hour.
Right.
Yeah. So
Right.
if you got friends or family, stay off the causeway, folks.
Don't
Please.
do what these people are doing. I can't believe that this many people are doing something this dumb.
Yeah, I'm not sure if law enforcement folks are maybe watching our coverage, but they need to get folks down to the causeway and start closing that down. That's a lot of
Yeah,
water.
immediately.
And
That's
it's
a
and
lot
it's
of
still
water.
piling up too with the high winds that we're seeing in that part of the
Yeah.
It's not going to get better.
No,
so.
it's not. I like it. Like Lexi mentioned, high tide I think for the Mobile Bay is right around 120 or 130.
126, so it's coming
Yeah.
in about 59
So
minutes.
this water is just going to get higher. I think we could end up very well with maybe a foot and a half of water over the causeway if this continues at its current rate. So again, if you're just popping on with us here, we're coming to the bottom of the hour now at 12:30. It's now officially 12:28, and we are in the middle of team coverage. We have a tornado warning that's in effect for North Mobile and it's northwestern Baldwin County. We've also got other big weather hazards, strong winds, and now we're seeing some coastal flooding, and not just some. This is significant coastal flooding. What you're looking at there is a live view from the Algo traffic cameras pointed at the causeway. This is at the Bayway intersection, at the interchange there, and this is an area that we warned about yesterday evening that we were going to see flooding, and we were expecting maybe some washover, but this is a lot more than
I mean,
washover.
we're seeing it live with our own eyes right
Yeah.
now. You can actually see some cars. You can see one is now beginning to turn around, which is basically what everybody should be doing. Don't even attempt at this point.
So if you were to have any travel plans there to cross Mobile Bay, you need to hold off and just wait for all this to move through. We got to really, truth be told, it's going to take a good maybe a couple of hours for that to come off of the causeway. I know, John, you've seen many instances like this here, and the fact that high tide is still approaching, I don't foresee this wrapping up anytime soon.
No, this is a hazard that is just going to get worse, and you're already looking at what must be at least a foot of water.
Yeah.
It only takes 6 to 8 inches of water to float some lighter cars.
Right.
So they could just be not even steering at some point. And then, of course, you get water up your exhaust pipe or into your carburetor, and your car is not only is it a danger to you, but it could be a very expensive proposition.
Yeah. So we're going to keep our eyes on this developing situation. We'll update you through the course of through the next couple of hours. Right now, let's go back to the weather wall, Caroline. We've got this big, massive Boeing segment of Boeing structure that's moving onto the eastern shore right now. Let's give folks an update.
Yes, so this is moving very quickly, Ed. Very quickly, we are seeing this leading edge of thunderstorms approaching the eastern shore. So what we're looking at here, if I can bring my telestrator on, is this area, this leading edge where the greens and reds and yellows meet. This is heading towards the eastern shore. So this direction towards Daphne, towards Park City, towards Spanish Fort, towards Montrose, towards Fairhope. And like I said, the main threat with this is going to be those damaging winds. I mean, we're seeing damaging winds of up to 65, 70, 75 miles per hour in this storm here. And this is going to be moving into the eastern shores. But I want to bring up our shear rate here, if I can.
Tornado warning was just dismissed.
Okay.
Okay. So the tornado warning that we were tracking that moved across Mobile County near the airport into West Mobile and eventually into Pritchard, that has now expired, which is good news. That has been canceled. So now we're really tracking the damaging straight line wind threat. And with these types of situations, you've got to take severe thunderstorm warnings just as seriously as you take tornado warnings, because these are a different breed of severe thunderstorm warnings. We're talking 70, 75 miles per hour here. And we're going to stay on the air with you to really walk you through through this because this is moving into the eastern shore. And I want to bring up the shear rate here. We use this tool not just for rotation, but when it's kind of elongated like this is when we're using it for damaging straight line winds. So if I can sample some of these areas for you here, we are seeing very, very strong wind shear, which means in this case, not rotation. It means we are seeing really significant damaging straight line winds at this point.
And if I could interrupt you for just a second, at Brookley, 48-mile-per-hour winds just a little while ago.
Okay. So you can see this signature on our storm relative velocity as well, where you are seeing kind of this line that goes all the way through Spanish Fort into Daphne and Fairhope. So let's go ahead and zoom in on some of these areas that are about to get hit with these damaging straight line winds. So if you're around Highway 31 heading towards Malbus, so the Eastern Shore Center is right here, right? So this is where the Eastern Shore Center is, near I-10, near Highway 31. It's kind of between these two is where the Eastern Shore Mall is. This is what is going to get hit with these damaging straight line winds in the next few minutes. Now, Bell Forest, you're seeing that now heading towards Bell Forest as well. And then down the line a little bit, it curves a little bit here. So Fairhope, you're now just getting hit with these damaging straight line winds. It's heading towards County Road 13, County Road 32 as well, heading towards County Road 9. You're going to get these damaging straight line winds in the next couple of minutes here, Point Clear as well.
And I do want to welcome in our viewers who are simulcasting. They are simulcasting on 88.5 Power 88. They are simulcasting our coverage right now on the radio. So, folks, if you're on the road listening to 88.5, stay away from the causeway. You need to stay away at this point. Go ahead and continue with your coverage there. We'll keep our eyes here on the. I think we need to watch the southern end of this line as well
for spin ups too. Yeah. So what I'm checking here is what happens is when we get these damaging straight line winds and we get these lines of thunderstorms, sometimes we can see quick spin up areas of rotation here along this line. So what we're looking for is if these start to rotate, any areas along this clear-cut line that you're seeing, which is just right now damaging straight line winds, but we're looking for some areas of rotation, not seeing that so far, but of course we'll continue to monitor that. It's even looking like that's tightening more.
And I think even now, all of Baldwin County, I mean, even Bay Minette, you're going to get the northern flank of this. No tornado threat, it appears, at this point with that, but you're going to get some significant, at least 40 to 50 mile an hour gusts, as John has just mentioned, that the storm has been producing quite a bit of wind. Also, we do want to update now the flood situation in Mobile County. Flash flood warning has been issued for Mobile County until 3:15 p.m. So as these storms are moving through, they're dropping a quick 1 to 2 inches of rain. In fact, I think I'm undercutting that a bit. Radar is now estimating 4.5 inches of rain having fallen over Mobile County.
That's what I was going to bring up our rain rate, and let's see kind of what this is dropping here. So in that really heavy line of storms that we're tracking, that's producing mainly damaging straight line winds, up to 8 inches almost per hour of rain. So we are expecting to see flooding. There is a flood watch in place through this afternoon and into tonight. There is also a coastal flood advisory in place. We're obviously seeing that from the causeway. If you're just now joining from one of our AlDOT cameras, AlGo cameras, we saw tremendous flooding over the causeway. It's completely covered by water.
All right, go to the causeway right now. A live view. We've got it looks like a rescue situation on the causeway right now. So what you're seeing there in the upper right, we have emergency crews on scene. It looks like we have at least two vehicles that have stalled in the floodwaters now. So it looks to be an ambulance there. And when I was watching this a couple seconds ago, it looks like the white car just next to the ambulance is a bystander who's come out to, it looks like, assist with the other white car there that's right in the middle or in the median that has appeared to have stalled out here. So, so we're watching this. So again, this is an AlGo camera, a traffic camera along the causeway. We expected flooding. We are seeing tremendous flooding now along the causeway. All of that washover as we are getting closer to high tide. That is in about now less than an hour from now. And we are seeing we're estimating here just by visuals and by the splash over we're seeing as the cars are moving through, estimating around 8 to 12 inches of water. I would say. I think John that's a good bet here. But you were just mentioning you'd think we were going to see cars start stalling out, And that's exactly what we're seeing. So the causeway, if we can get some word from the newsroom, I mean, if they haven't officially closed down the causeway, I'm seeing fewer cars on there. So I'm assuming that we're starting to see that, or folks are just heeding our word that you need to stay off of the causeway.
So you have the effect of the wind pushing that water over the seawall, which you can see plainly is what's happening. But you also have rain falling at, as Caroline pointed out, 7-8 inches per hour. Typically, with a cold front, you get a narrow band of those showers, and it moves through quickly. So you don't actually see 7 or 8 inches of rain. But these are slow movers, and you may see a good bit. You might get 4 or 5 inches of rain out of this.
And another update here. This is from I'm looking at the current power outage situation. Right now we're estimating, according to our material, we have our data, we have about 9,000 customers in Mobile County that are without power. We have about 2,000 customers now in George County, Mississippi, 400 estimated without power in Greene County, and 3,500. So they're escorting a driver away right now. It looks like that person's been rescued from their vehicle. They're now moving the camera away there while that's underway. So guys, just as expected, I would say that these are not generally the most intense storms that we have seen here on the Gulf Coast. That's certainly, but straight line winds tell you what kind of damage that it can do in terms of power situations. I think we're going to hope to try to work to get some word from the folks at Alabama Power on their situation. But we're estimating right now around 9,000 customers in the dark in Mobile County from these what appear to be close to 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts within that line.
Right, and one of the real problems with this system that we have been talking about for the past couple of days is that it's a slow mover.
Right.
I mean, it's getting into our neighborhood, and it's just taking its time moving through, and that means the winds are with you longer, the rains are with you longer.
Yeah.
It's just a really dangerous situation.
And very quickly, I do want to name off a couple of areas here that I think we're going to be seeing the severe threat conclude here. Mississippi got a lot of rain coming down, but I think the severe weather threat is ending or has ended. You're going to continue to see a good bit of lightning out there, and that's another thing. These storms have been highly electrified this afternoon, but still, the severe threat continues now for Baldwin County. Dauphin Island, you are not officially in the warning, but you are getting some gusty wind, I would suspect, here from the southern end of this storm. I know we haven't mentioned Dauphin Island as readily this afternoon, but you've got some extremely heavy rain there. That part of the thunderstorm will slide towards Fort Morgan, and will head that southern part of the storm will roll towards Gulf Shores and Orange Beach. I know we got a lot of folks here that are still down here for spring break, enjoying our beaches, but this is a serious thunderstorm that's rolling through Baldwin County.
And I think we are still looking at the causeway here, I'm astounded at what's going on, because people just should not be on the causeway. But now the eastbound lane is completely flooded, and people are in the westbound lane going east. It's just really a bad situation.
Yeah, if we can get some word here from any of our emergency officials, if that causeway has not been closed down, it needs to be closed down quickly.
Should have been closed down.
Yeah, we've got some very dangerous behavior taking place right now. Unfortunately, as folks are trying to drive across this flooded causeway. We've already had at least one rescue there. You can see the emergency crew still on scene. And folks there, I know you're in the semis and the high-profile vehicles. We've got strong wind, but no vehicle should be trying to navigate here through this. I see a lot of folks coming off of the causeway. Eastbound causeway is now closed. So eastbound causeway has been closed. It looks like they are navigating folks, or trying to get folks off of the causeway and onto the Bayway. It seems here, and there you go. You got the big semi trying to make that hard turn back onto the Bayway. So this is a lot of hazards here this afternoon. Not only with the threat of coastal flooding over the bay, we've also got now flash flooding as a result of the storms. Very quickly, if we can, in the control room, let's go ahead and see if we can pull up Grant Skinner live in the News 5 Weather Beast. We may lose his signal because it appears he is about to go into the Wallace Tunnel. He is moving into the Wallace Tunnel right now. And if does Grant can Grant hear me?
Yep.
Okay, Grant. So I
can hear you.
I know you're on the moving into the Wallace Tunnel right now. So once you come out there, you're going to be seeing a lot of folks there on the causeway. So now driving now, once you've made your way now to I-10, have you noticed any more of those flooded streets before you got to the interstate?
I have not noticed any flooded streets. Hopefully you can hear me. We're just at the kind of the bottom section of the tunnel now. Not noticing any real ponding inside the Wallace Tunnel, which is a good thing. Still wet roadways, so it's going to be very slick across a lot of these roads. Of course, like Ed just mentioned, roads closed on the causeway eastbound because of some of that flooding, and we're about to get out of the Wallace Tunnel. Looks like they're probably going to have this blocked off here, so I don't think we're going to be able to get off and be able to show you this here because I think there's going to be emergency vehicles.
Yeah.
It looks like we might be able to get off at Battleship Parkway, so we're going to try to safely kind of get around this and try to be able to show you some of this flooding that we've noticed along the causeway because it's been, and look at that, completely. It's completely stalled now on the bayway. You can see it on the left side of the screen there. The whole left side, that's the bayway. It's completely stalled because people are trying to take that instead of the causeway. Yeah, it's a mess over here.
Yeah, it's turning into a parking lot there now on the bayway. So again, what you're seeing now is Grant getting and our chief photojournalist Jason Garcia. They are getting their way onto the causeway now. Again, the eastbound causeway has been closed off for traffic because of a lot of washover on Mobile Bay, and we've been noticing a lot of people on the bay trying to navigate there. We've seen at least one rescue from the Algo traffic cameras. Appears at least someone in a white vehicle in one of the medians there tried to navigate through. As John Nodar predicted, we got some stalled vehicles out there. And see, now we're seeing exactly what the beast is coming up onto a kind of a parking lot there. Caroline, you got some new information?
Yeah, I was just going to remind you too. John said this earlier, but this is an area that has Algo cameras, but there's other areas that are likely flooding similar to this. The Dauphin Island Causeway always floods like this. So does the Coden Causeway. So if you are in an area, low-lying area that we typically see flooding in, please, 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 it's not just the Mobile Causeway. Turn around, don't drown. Please do not drive through these flooded streets. One, you don't know what's under the water or in the water. Two, you don't know how deep it is. And three, if it's too deep, it's going to stall your vehicle anyways. So take a different route for sure.
Yeah. So we're going to keep our eyes on this. So Grant, I'm assuming the actual rainfall has let up a little bit where you are there, but
Gene said try to get by.
Yeah.
If we can.
So we're gonna the folks are we're gonna let Grant and Jason keep on trying to get by if we can, so we can safely navigate our way there to show you a little bit more up close view of what's happening there on the causeway. Let's go ahead and go back full screen if we can. We're going to do a little bit more storm tracking here. There we go. So right now we're looking at Baldwin County. So Lexi, go ahead and take it away there into Baldwin County.
Okay, we're taking a look here. I'm going to make sure that the hand tracker is working just fine. I'm not seeing that the hand tracker is working.
All right.
But let me just go ahead and tell you. Oh, might just woken up a little bit. Hang on.
There you go. Go for it. It should be
okay. There we
now.
go. Okay. There we go. That's what I'd like to see. Okay. So just giving you a little bit of an overview here. Again, lots of heavy rainfall stretching all the way from Bay Minette all the way down to Loxley, Daphne, Fairhope, and kind of looking downwind here, Robertsdale, Somerdale, Foley, Alberta. You're going to get ready to be hit with some very heavy rainfall, maybe even some strong gusty winds as well, because again, there's that leading edge of that line of showers and thunderstorms that just crossed Mobile Bay and onto the eastern shore, including the Daphne and Fairhope areas. And I don't think we have any good views of it, but also look at that heavy rainfall across scenic Highway 98. You may want to avoid that area as well, because you can clearly see all those dark red colors indicating some very heavy rainfall on top of that. So let's go ahead and just zoom in a little bit closer. I would also avoid just areas along I-10, again, north of Loxley, around Ellisville, Highway 90, all the way down to Spanish Fort. Like we were just saying, we were getting good views of the causeway and the flooding there. So that is a pretty significant impact as well. Let's go ahead and toss you back to Grant Skinner, who's live in the Weather Beast. And Grant, what are you currently seeing right now?
Hey there, Lexi. Yeah, so we are now crossing over, like around the causeway, we just were able to get past some of those closures and kind of be able to show you some of the water that's been washing over some of these roadways. And you can see in front of us, I mean, the water just crashing against the shoreline there. Emergency vehicles have folks stopped on the eastbound side. If you're going to head on the causeway, do not try to head eastbound. You can see the waves really crashing in front of us right now. So this is, again, on the causeway. This is probably about halfway between the eastern shore and Mobile County. And look at these winds and the water just crashing against the shoreline here. I mean, folks, this is why we tell you to stay off the causeway when we're in these situations like this with really gusty winds approaching 60 to 70 miles per hour. The surf is just really high. It's just too dangerous to be on the causeway in those low-lying areas when we have conditions like this. Again, it's really just crashing against again, areas right along the south side of the causeway here.
Whitecaps there. I mean, it's just crashing over the seawall. What kind of winds are you seeing there?
Winds right now looks like sustained. Let's see if we can. Hey, Jason, if we can take a stop real quick and see if we can get a wind reading here. Because the averages are a little bit thrown off because we're obviously driving, so it's hard to get a good average. But kind of just sitting right here, we're picking up winds around, sustained around 10 to 15 miles per hour. But of course, it's still kind of get a good read of the wind since we were just kind of driving at a higher speed than the wind speed. But you can see right in front of us, look at that, all that water kind of like washed right along the line here.
Yeah, so Grant had said, so right now I can see you got the old radio station right there off to your left, so I can kind of see exactly where you are. So I'm assuming this would be close, getting up upon Felix's there on the causeway. So you're on the part of the causeway there, though you've gone east, but you have not come up to the actual intersection of I-10 yet, have you?
No, so we are not close to that yet. An emergency vehicle just asked us to actually pull over and kind of stay off the roadway for a second. They've got more emergency vehicles that are headed eastbound. I'll kind of show you in that direction. That's headed towards Felix's and headed towards the I-10 98 interchange there. And the washover just becoming a little bit too much, so they kind of need us to kind of move away for a second so the emergency vehicles can pass through.
Yeah, we totally understand. We want to make sure everyone's staying safe. But again, if you're just popping on with us, eastbound causeway is closed. Very quickly, let's go ahead and jump back to the Algo traffic camera if we can. Grant, we'll get back with you a little bit once you get yourself a little bit closer. Go back to the Algo traffic camera if we can in the control room. Let's take another live look at this. So what you're seeing there is I-10 on the right. You can see it's very slow going eastbound. That's what the headlights are. That's the eastbound traffic. And on below that there on the left, you see, again, the causeway. There are emergency vehicles there. We have at least 2 vehicles there. Appears 2 vehicles that have stalled out there in the median as folks have been trying to navigate their way. The eastbound direction is closed. It looks like a lot of those headlights are actually sitting in the left lane of the eastbound.
They're in the wrong lane, thinking maybe they could get through, but they're being blocked there by emergency workers. We've focused on this quite a bit because it is pretty dramatic stuff, and it's a real hazard for drivers. We also do need to give a quick overview, and I'm hoping we can just toss over to Lexi and have her give us an idea of what's happening all around the area, because there are a lot of folks dealing with a lot of weather right now.
Yeah, Lexi, go ahead and take us through Baldwin County if we can. Let's go back to the wall.
All right, let's go ahead and take a look at what we're currently seeing in Baldwin County. Again, lots of heavy rainfall from Fairhope to Battles Wharf, Point Clear, all the way down to the Barnwell community, Clay City, Marlow. Now starting to see that heavy rainfall approaching areas like Robertsdale, Summerdale, Foley, including Highway 59, Highway 98. In some of those areas, starting to see some light rainfall entering areas like Alberta, and Elsinore is just outside of that as well. Let me go ahead and zoom out just a little bit more and kind of zoom down to southern Baldwin County as well. You can see some heavy rainfall across Gulf Shores and even approaching Orange Beach. In fact, we may be able to move that Orange Beach camera to take a look at what we're currently seeing heading in from the west. So I'll let them kind of mess with that camera here in just a little bit. But most of this right now is just heavy rainfall and some very strong gusty winds up towards central and northern portions of Baldwin County. We have some heavy rainfall around the Bay Minette area, Highway 90. There's Highway 31, lots of heavy rainfall around there as well. Cutting across northern Baldwin County, I-65 as you head up towards Atmore, you're seeing some heavy rainfall rainfall as well. So it really doesn't matter where you are in Baldwin County right now, very heavy rainfall, almost blinding rainfall, I guess you could say, because when you have heavy rainfall and you're driving out on the roadways, you're not going to be able to see anything. So it's very highly recommended at this point. Again, we keep going back to looking at the flooding out on the causeway. I would highly just recommend pulling over, getting into a parking lot, or maybe heading home right away and just staying off the roads until all this heavy rainfall is pretty much over and done with. Like we mentioned, we have flood watches in place for the entire News 5 neighborhood throughout the day today. And this was kind of anticipated when we were starting to see rainfall totals anywhere from 2 to 4 inches being predicted over the last several days. And I believe at this point, we may be able to see a little bit more in some local spots as well. That's something we'll continue to keep our eyes on. Back off towards Mobile County, rainfall still looking light to moderate. Also seeing some heavy rainfall down towards the Bayou La Batterie area as well. Seeing some very strong thunderstorms currently moving across Dauphin Island and the southern portion of the Mobile Bay as well. Lots of heavy rainfall. And of course, with thunderstorms, most likely a very active lightning situation as well. I know Ed's been kind of keeping an eye on those power outages across the News 5 neighborhood. Again, I believe he said about 9,000 customers without power in Mobile County. And I'm pretty sure we're about to get a report in here for Baldwin County as well, especially if these thunderstorms are producing some very strong wind gusts. Go ahead, Ed.
Update that right now. We now have 10,000 customers estimated in Mobile County without power. We have now at least 1,500 in Baldwin County that are without power as well.
Expect that number to climb.
Yeah, that number will climb because as those high winds head towards Foley. As well, and also those beach communities, Orange Beach and Gulf Shores. We're going to keep our eyes on those cameras as well here. So let's go ahead and if we can, let's pull up Sure Rate and do a quick storm track. This is moving east at 45 miles per hour with these storms. If we can, Lexia, go ahead and see if we can time this out here. So yeah, there's the motion. So this is moving due east, it appears.
Yeah, so mostly east at this point. Again, there's that leading edge of showers and thunderstorms, which again was producing some very heavy rainfall, but also some very strong gusty winds as well. Let me see here. Let me click on something real quick. Yeah, we still have that severe thunderstorm warning in place that now has been cut back to most of Baldwin County. I think it also includes this very small portion of western Escambia County in northwest Florida. And kind of just looking downstream here, yeah, northwest Florida is about to get some heavy rainfall as well, especially Escambia County, which is the first on the list. So areas like Pensacola, areas along I-110, I-10, it's just to give you guys a heads up, you're definitely going to be seeing some very strong to heavy thunderstorms here very, very soon. This line again is moving to the east at about 45 miles per hour. In fact, let's go ahead and stop this just real quick. And I'm going to go ahead and kind of do a storm tracker here if I can. So we'll kind of put this around the edge of this thunderstorm. We'll go about, let's see, about
45.
Right so 45 miles per hour. So just kind of looking downstream here. Let's see here. Farm Hill, about 19 minutes. Cottage Hill, 21. Again, this is heading into Escambia County, Florida. The Pine Forest area, about 22 minutes. Gonzales, about 23. Avondale, about 24. So if those areas are familiar to you, if you live over in Escambia County, just be aware that some very strong and heavy rainfalls heading your way, along with some very gusty winds associated with this leading edge of line of showers and thunderstorms. So you have about 15 to 20 minutes until these storms arrive on your doorstep.
Yeah, and let's go ahead very quickly if we can. While we, at least we don't have as imminent of a tornado threat with this line here. Very quickly, let's go if we can go back to the weather beast in the control room. Meteorologist Grant Skinner and Chief Photojournalist Jason Garcia. They've been in the weather beast here. Grant, if you can hear me, I see you're in that near that parking lot near Felix's, and it looks flooded.
It's very flooded.
Lots of cars pulled over.
Goodness.
Yes, it's very much so flooded. You can see kind of up to, I would say, about halfway up the wheel well. You can see the flooding on these cars, and we're getting really close to the pretty intense flooded roadways here right in front of us. This is getting really close to where we've had some of those water rescues. The standing water is right in front of us. You can see a lot of the cars either pulled over, or there's emergency vehicles, or folks headed westbound because they can't head eastbound here. The roads are just too flooded.
Yeah, and it looks like here, as we're talking, we're going to stay on your shot, but let's go ahead, Caroline, we'll stay on the beach shot here. Caroline, just got a new warning coming down. Let's go ahead and read this off.
Yes, and also we're getting word from emergency management that the eastbound causeway ramp to I-10 is also closed.
Okay.
As far as the severe thunderstorm warning, it looks like they're just extending that one to be further into northwest Florida. This is for 60-mile-per-hour wind gusts, penny-sized hail here, and this is moving. The storm is 7 miles east of Fort Morgan. Lexi moving east at 40 miles per hour there, and this expires at 1:45. So it's the same storm, the same line that we've been tracking. It's just being extended a little bit further eastward.
Yeah. So multiple weather hazards there through Baldwin County, and it looks like Grant, are we? It looks like you're right at the emergency vehicle there. I know you guys are going to try to get through there. Okay, so now now what's happening is, what do we have here? What are your? Look, I see you're trying to move
double boxes to see the algo cam too next to the B shot?
Yeah, let's go ahead and move to that as well. Grant, sorry about that. It looks like you've now moved into the westbound lanes, and but you are traveling eastbound.
That's
that
right.
appears to be what you're doing, right?
Yeah, so we have an emergency vehicle that's in front of us, kind of like blocking things off so we can head eastbound a little bit more. And you can see that the entire eastbound section is just completely flooded. And even parts of the median as well. You can see some of the ponding over the median. That could become flooded too if this water keeps washing ashore, which it likely will. You can still see the strong winds, the white caps just over the causeway. So still pretty gusty winds out here, and you can see pretty intense flooding as well.
Okay, Caroline, you got some new information? What do we got?
Yeah, from emergency management over in Baldwin County, tree down at Highway 90 at the County Road 13 intersection. It's blocking that road. Okay,
so now we've got wind damage from these storms now in Baldwin County. So we'll go ahead and let Grant try to navigate his way closer to some of this flooding. Let's go ahead and go back to live storm tracking here. Lexi, go ahead and take us through visually this new warning that was just issued by the National Weather Service, because this does include now Pensacola is included in this.
That is right. So I did kind of switch on the shear right before we tossed to Grant here, because I just needed to get an idea of how strong these winds were. Lots of bowing with these thunderstorms, and you can see that the shear is looking very purplish, which is an indication of some very strong winds associated with some of these thunderstorms. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out a little bit so we can look at this new warning here. And again, it does cover portions of Baldwin County, but now extends into all of Escambia County in Florida, in northwest Florida, and also portions of Santa Rosa County as well. So let's switch back the reflectivity here. So kind of looking downstream here a little bit, you can still see that organized leading edge of showers and thunderstorms over in Baldwin County is getting ready to cross state lines into Escambia County, Florida. So that's the reason why they did extend the severe thunderstorm warning into northwest Florida. So again, areas like Milton, Ferry Pass, Pensacola, the Lillian area, these are areas all now under a severe thunderstorm warning until what time it was, Caroline?
1:45.
1:45. So about another 45 minutes or so. So zooming in just a little bit closer, let's go ahead and take a look at some neighborhoods here. So this includes the Bellevue community, the Cantonment community, Highway 90, Blue Angel Parkway, Warrington, Haven Park. If those areas are familiar to you, you're under a severe thunderstorm warning. Fort Barrancas, Chanticleer. Just outside of this box here is Oriole Beach, but it also includes Gulf Breeze as well. Milton getting in on some leading edge showers and thunderstorms right now, but that leading edge is still way back off towards our west here. The Wallace area, if those areas are familiar to you, you're under that severe thunderstorm warning. So again, we're looking at the potential for some damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour and even some pea to penny size hail associated in these thunderstorms. But I think the main concern we're seeing right now are of course those gusty winds and then also that flooding, because a lot of heavy rainfall, and it's actually the storm system's beginning to slow down just a little bit. The previous severe thunderstorm warning over in Baldwin County said the storm was moving at about 45 miles per hour eastward. Now it's only moving to about 40, so it is slowing down just a little bit, and that's going to allow more time for these areas to accumulate some very heavy rainfall totals. So let's go ahead and take a look at the prediction here. So it's moving to the east at about 40 miles per hour, excuse me. So we're going to take this and go about 40 miles here. Just bear with me for a quick second. Here we go. All right, so if these areas are familiar to the Pine Forest area, about 15 minutes, Bellevue about 16, Avondale 16, the Olive community about 19, West Pensacola, there you go, West Pensacola just under 20 minutes until this area gets a little bit closer to your area, excuse me. So again, this is just kind of a brief estimation of what we could see here over the next 15 to 20 minutes. Again, these are the areas here, just to kind of give you an idea of the timing of this system as it continues to move to the east. Again, it's moving at about 45 miles per hour. Again, damaging wind gusts up to 60 miles per hour and some very heavy rainfall that, again, we can see falling across the Elsinore community, back off towards Robertdale, Somerdale, the Foley area, Alberta, Loxley, areas like I-10, Highway 90, Mobile Highway, just to give you a heads up there, Highway 30, portions of Lillian Highway, Blue Angel Parkway, just kind of naming off a couple of roads here. Again, I-10, I-110, the Pensacola Bay Bridge as well. You may want to just keep that in mind if you're going to need the Pensacola Bay Bridge. You may want to do it now instead of 20 minutes from now, because that's when these storms are most likely going to be in that area.
All right, Lexi, very quickly, let's go back to the, we're going to try to get the double box of the Beast and the Algo cameras, because I can actually see the Weather Beast on the Algo camera right now. Let's go back to meteorologist Grant Skinner. You've made your way there to the intersection or the interchange of the Causeway and the Bayway, and where we've been seeing this significant flooding. It looks like, again, crews have blocked off the path there, Grant. Grant, can you hear me? Okay. All right. Okay, we're good. So Grant has made his way to the barricade where they blocked things off there. But this is where we're seeing by far the most flooding today, right on the causeway there. So while he goes ahead and works with the vehicles there, again, we got the emergency crew there. We got a couple of stalled pedestrian vehicles, but a lot of the ASAP crews are out on the causeway as well now, and it appears that they have shut everything down. I don't see a single car going east or west now on the causeway.
It seems like it.
Yeah, it looks like they have completely shut this down here. Eastbound, and it now appears westbound as well.
And that ramp's closed too.
And the ramp coming off of I-10,
right.
off I-10, and is also closed. So they're not letting any traffic go. So all you see are blue and red lights out there, emergency vehicles. So again, that's the updated situation there. We'll certainly check back in with Grant here, but just and we should be hitting our high tide here. You said 126, Lexi?
I believe it's 126, so probably in about 20 minutes or so.
So we should hit that high tide, but it's going to take, I would say, at least another good hour and a half to 2 hours to let that tide subside after we hit our high tide cycles. So we're likely to continue to see causeway flooding for the next couple of hours. It's going to take a while for us to finally get that to get rid of all of that flooding. Very quickly, we'll check back with Grant and share shortly. Let me update you on the power outage situation here, because we've still had a lot of folks that are in the dark. If you're watching us, lost the ability to watch us on television, but if you're watching us via your mobile device or on the WKRG news and weather app, just to give you an idea here, well, things have actually now improved. We were up to 10,000 customers in Mobile County. It looks like Alexa, you got them up right there, or no, I'm sorry, I take that back. There, we're looking at links too. So 9,500 customers now in Mobile County, 1,500 customers in Baldwin County. We've still now got some minor outages being observed in Northwest Florida. I would assume it's probably more due to the lightning with those storms moving in now. And we're estimating, just kind of doing a ballpark math here, almost 5,000 customers between Jackson, Georgia, and Greene County in Mississippi that are in the dark. So those are the power outages situations in terms of the percentages. Overall, in the grand scheme of things, they're low, but again, nearly 10,000 folks still in Mobile County without power. All right. Okay, so now we're going to meteorologist Grant Skinner has received clearance to get a little bit closer here to get a closer view of the flooding. So that is where Grant is moving now. So Grant, if you can hear me, let's go ahead and take a look at what we're seeing here. It looks, at least from the camera views, have they shut down both east and westbound parts of the causeway?
Yes, so it looks like both sides are shut down now.
Yeah.
Because they're trying to get emergency vehicles through here. You can see folks are, getting out of their vehicles right now. Just had a rescue done. And you can see I'm right next to an ambulance as well, just past that. And there's the flooding there, and the vehicles right next to us, where you can see the flooding. We're gonna try to turn around so we can get a better view for y'all.
Okay. Very quickly,
Yeah,
we'll go back to
just-
that shortly, but we have a tornado warning that has just been
I'll go ahead and
issued.
read it off for you while you get set up. So this is a tornado warning. It includes northwestern Santa Rosa County, northwestern Escambia County as well.
right.
It's a severe thunderstorm capable of producing a tornado, so there is some kind of rotation located 10 miles southwest of Brat, if that is a familiar area to you, 12 miles south of Atmore.
Yep,
And it's
and-
moving northeast at 40 miles per hour.
Yeah, this is between Bay Springs and Phillipsville, just south of Walnut Hill, just inside the Escambia County, Baldwin County line
Okay.
there.